All right, the fate of the president's tax returns and financial records now in the hands of the Supreme Court as House Democrats barrel towards a Christmas-time impeachment vote. Let's bring in former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Harry Litman and former federal prosecutor Robert Ray. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with this. Ian Millhiser writing for Vox. The headline, "The Supreme Court is about to tell us how willing it is to protect Donald Trump," says a decision for Trump could give the president broad new immunity from oversight that would extend far beyond this one case. Under existing law, Trump's legal arguments are exceedingly weak. So a decision embracing those arguments could completely rework the balance of power between Congress and the presidency. Robert, I'll start with you. The lower courts have not been with the president. He is now hoping that all of this will head to the Supreme Court and hand him a decision, probably June, in the middle of a presidential election year next year, that will block his records. How do you think the justices will tackle this?
It will be a significant decision, and probably the most significant decision on presidential power since Jones versus Clinton during the Clinton presidency, and in connection, obviously with the matters that led ultimately to Bill Clinton's impeachment. And it raises related issues. They all involve the president's tax records, his tax returns, and other financial documents. And there are two different subpoenas from different House committees. And then the third case involves the district attorney in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance, who is using a grand jury subpoena in connection with a criminal investigation to obtain information indirectly from the president with regard to his personal financial information. All of those questions raise a substantial constitutional argument about protecting the power and the prerogatives of the president of the United States.
Yeah, and Matt Vespa, writing in Town Hall, says this. This is a fishing expedition. There's no legitimate allegation of illegality. Democrats just don't like Trump. Yes, of course, the White House should have and has fought this tooth and nail. It's all part of the broad and aggressive campaign to get the president, period. Harry, I think that we would all probably say we have confidence in the Supreme Court. These are serious jurists who want to be as apolitical as possible. We know at least 4 votes yes to put this thing on the calendar. So how do you think it shakes out next year?
Yeah. Slow news day, huh? Well, I think a couple things we can predict. What you just read will not be where the Supreme Court is. They won't say there's no legislative purpose. They won't second guess Congress that way. Another place that they won't be is adopting Trump's arguments, which are absolutist. But they may well give him a victory in a sort of tempered way, saying, for example, something like Congress needs to make a better showing before it can get the records. I think that the Cyrus Vance case will be different because that involves a subpoena of a third party. But as Robert says, monumental, however you slice it. But I think the absolutist arguments will be off the table. Probably the United States won't even take those positions.
Yeah, I mean, this court tends to try to be pretty nuanced. Chief Justice Roberts likes to be as narrow as possible about these things. He's not looking to throw out the Constitution and start fresh. Okay, let's talk now a little bit about the fact, before we go, obviously we're going to the next step in impeachment here. I want to go back to a couple of things. This was now House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler back in 1998.
There must never be a narrowly voted impeachment or an impeachment substantially supported by one of our major political parties and largely opposed by the other. This partisan coup d'etat will go down in infamy in the history of this nation.
This is what House Intel Chair Adam Schiff had to say while campaigning back in 1998. He said, "I think impeachment for most people in this district is only the most graphic illustration of an incumbent who's put the national partisan ideological fights ahead of representing his district." Quick comment from you both. Robert, we'll start with you. I mean, do impeachments just by their nature turn out to be partisan? Is it possible to avoid that and do this in a way that the American people have confidence in it?
The answer is no, and in my lifetime, that answer has been no. During the Nixon impeachment, I went back and checked the vote. The vote in the House Judiciary Committee with regard to the first 2 articles was 27 to 11. If you do the math, that's over 70%. It necessarily was bipartisan, and there were Republican votes for impeachment of a Republican president, Richard Nixon. So that, and of course, that's anticipatory to what ultimately has to happen in the Senate if there is going to be the removal of a president. The framers of the Constitution designed this to require bipartisan support in order to overturn the results of an election. That's exactly what Jerry Nadler was arguing 20 years ago, and it's the opposite of what he is arguing now.
I mean, so far, Harry, you know, these votes have been pretty much along party lines, except for a couple of Democrats who crossed over to vote no. But as far as this coming out of the committee, it is partisan so far.
Completely, and it's going to stay that way. But look, facts matter. Yes, he was arguing that before, and there's always a tweet or people saying the other thing. But what matters here is the difference between Clinton and the facts here. I would ask Robert something that Representative Jayapal said in the hearing. Take Trump out of it. Would you agree that the conduct alleged here is impeachable? Because you have 0 Republicans even willing to say that much, yet it seems obvious. So, of course, bipartisanship is better, but if you have one party saying we will not play, period, then there's just no way to get there, and you can't have them.
We have to go, but I'll let Robert say yes or no to that, because a number of people have said, listen, I don't love it, it's creepy behavior, I don't think it's great, but not impeachable. Robert, what say you?
Well, the exit ramp for that, but I don't think it's something that the Democrats will seriously consider, would be censure as an alternative to impeachment. I mean, I suppose people have argued that an impeachment without any ability whatsoever to remove a president is in some sense a censure. I don't think this is particularly healthy for the country. I hope that we get out of the business of impeaching presidents just because the opposite party has control of the House of Representatives. I don't think that that's what the framers of the Constitution intended.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to set that as a precedent. The baseline. Okay, we'll see. Harry and Robert, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, and you too.